What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Knicks City, the show that never sleeps. I'm your host, Jonathan Carney. Here with me, Jordan Bailey. Today is going to be a pretty fun show. We're going to be talking about majority of the New York Knicks offseason. We're going to be talking about potential moves in regards to either Julius Randle and Tom Thibodeau. We're also going to be talking about the draft lottery, and we will be touching on Ja Morant and his story as that has been all over the NBA. So I'll let Jordan introduce himself really quick, and then we'll dive into the show.
How you guys doing? Yeah, like he said, this is Jordan, and looking forward to talking some Knicks, and obviously, off season stuff is not as much to talk about because we lost unfortunately, but always we got to keep on pushing this content out for y'all, and make sure y'all we still in tune. We still gonna keep
Yeah, we
posting.
still gonna
So
rock.
right, right.
Yeah, so let's just dive
like
right
he,
into
my fault. Like he
go
said,
go.
this is the show that never sleeps. So
Yeah, yeah. Don't sleep. We go all year round. So,
right.
let's just dive right into it. So, the biggest talk of the town, if you're a Knicks fan, is what we're going to do with Julius Randle and Tom Thibodeau. Specifically, what we're going to do with Julius Randle. So, if you follow any New York Knicks podcast or you follow the New York Knicks, anyone that talks about the New York Knicks, the biggest thing is Julius Randle going to be on this team next year? And for me, I'll just start with it. Personally, from what I've seen, the Knicks have signed this guy. When they signed him, they kind of believed in him, and he took them to the playoffs in 2021 season. He brought them to the playoffs. Someone that hasn't really, the Knicks have really never been in the playoffs in a long time since Melo and Julius Randle came in and got them in there. So he's really been their guy that they're looking at. And after that year, they gave him a contract extension. So they really kind of love the guy, if you want to say that, for the New York Knicks organization and the front office. He's the guy that they believe in. They wouldn't give him a ton of money if they didn't believe him, and he wouldn't be on the team if they didn't believe him. But right now, the talk is they either are going to either completely throw everything against the wall for the Philadelphia 76ers and the current MVP of the NBA, Joel Embiid, and try to get a trade for Julius Randle and a lot of other things, or they're looking for Carl Anthony Towns. So for me personally, I'd rather keep Julius Randle over both of those. The reason why is for Carl Anthony Towns, I have no interest at all whatsoever. I just don't think the way that he would play with the Knicks would be able to kind of flow well. The problem with Julius Randle is his flow is kind of it gets in the way of the Knicks. When we need him to perform, he doesn't perform, and I think Carl Anthony Towns is in the same boat. I mean, we're looking at Minnesota Timberwolves team that has Carl Anthony Towns, and he really hasn't done much there in Minnesota. So I wouldn't really trade all that for Carl Anthony Towns, and he's a center, and we already have a center. I'd rather have Mitchell Robinson out there than Carl Anthony Towns, even though I think Carl Anthony Towns is a little bit better player than Mitchell Robinson, but I'd rather take Mitchell Robinson all day long if it consists of you know getting rid of the house. And for Joel Embiid, he's the MVP. He's a great player, but he's really injury prone. So if you trade for him, you have to trade your entire house for him because he's the MVP. He's the best player in the league, one of the best players. He got the MVP this year, but it's him. He's top three for sure. It's him, Joker, and Giannis. Those are the three big lists. So if the Knicks are going to try to trade for him, they're gonna have to trade a lot. Not just Julius Randle. We're talking about a lot of picks. We're probably talking about Quickly's going to be involved. Obi Toppin's going to be involved. A lot of people are going to be involved. And for me, even though if you watch the show, you've seen our reactions. We're not the biggest fan of Julius Randle. But for me personally, I'd rather take Julius Randle than gut the whole team for Joel Embiid, who's probably only going to play like 40 games. But for me, that's kind of really my stances on that. Those are the two big headlines that what the Knicks are trying to go for. And fans out there have their own theories and stuff like that into what they would like to do. And for me personally, I don't have any theories because, like I said earlier, I don't think the Knicks have any interest in trading Julius Randle. They gave him the contract, they trust him, they believe him. I think he stays on the Knicks team next year, so I'm really not going to dive into any like possibilities in regards to trades. I'll let Jordan kind of do that, see if he has any of that stuff. But for me now, I just think what the Knicks really need to focus on is getting more role players to help out the bench and to help out the starting team. You know, Julius Randle is a player that is affected by how the game flows. And so we talked about this in the last show. If he's having a bad game, if he's not doing good, he's going to have a bad game. And if he's doing really good, he's going to have a great game. So and that's reliant on his supporting cast. So when Jalen Brunson's going crazy, R.J. Barrett's going crazy, that helps Julius Randle out, and so I think they might be able to help him out, getting an additional help. But overall, I think he stays on the Knicks, but we'll see. So I'll throw it to Jordan. Let's see what he's got.
Yeah, man. So also from what I saw that with how Giannis and the Bucks, kind of collapsed against the Heat in this year in the playoffs, that he might be another name to look out for, in a potential trade. But, to be honest, like you said, even though my mind and my heart, to be honest, like, no, actually my heart is telling me I want Julius out of here. My mind is telling me, just based off how things have been going, how this front office is operated. Like, I don't foresee that to be happening, at this point in time. But I do foresee, well, like from what I've heard is like, a lot of people think that RJ might be, with the performance that RJ kind of put together in the playoffs, he might have kind of added some value to himself in order to, kind of give himself a opportunity to be like a centerpiece in a trade for somebody else, But so I don't know. It's a lot of theories out there, but as far as Thibs, I think, the way he kind of coached in the second series, it was kind of like it was just a bad coaching performance. And um, I don't think it's lost him his job as of yet, but we'll just have to see how things continue to progress as far as like, as far as how he continues to coach the team, and if they put some other players around him. But I do think for the most part, he got as much out of that roster as he could, this roster this year, as he could. Some questionable decisions as far as like, keeping Josh Hart in the starting lineup in the second round instead of, putting Quentin Grimes back in in the starting lineup once he became healthy. I think he should have made that switch a little quicker. But yeah, I don't foresee neither one of them to be gone. As far as like trades, I have to push back a little bit on Joel Embiid because I don't know, man. Even the injury concerns are the injury concerns. We can't that I could never argue with that. But at the same time, it's just like, you know, as far as Julius and how he's kind of put together, now it's like kind of a track record now of bad performances in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So from 2021 season to now, what I'm saying, it's still, so it's like, to be an all NBA player, maybe I don't know, you gotta continue. I expect more from you. I'm gonna just be honest with you, especially being an all NBA player. So I just think he has to figure out a way to, you know, figure out that his mental, because I know it's just got to be mental for him. Like, as far as like the mental makeup of him, he, like you said, when he misses shots or different things like that, that's when he lets his game go down. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, a game flow player, and we at times, especially in the playoffs, we can't do well with game flow players. Game flow players aren't going to take us far. We need players that's going to play hard regardless of the situation, regardless if they're playing well or not, things like that. So I just think he has to work. He has to work on that as far as the mental piece. And it's like, maybe that's just him. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's just his mental makeup, and we can't change that. So And in that case, then it's like I don't know. As far as his role on the team, I just think he shouldn't be. Maybe his role should be like switched, or I don't know. I don't know, but I truly believe that if we did have a trade for Joel Embiid, I feel the same way about Cat. I don't really like Cat. As far as defense, he's not a defender. He doesn't play defense well. He is a great offensive big. You know what I'm saying? I will give that to him. But as far as two-way play, I think Joel Embiid, having Joel Embiid. Imagine if Joel Embiid, just putting on my imagination into work. Just imagine if he had Jalen Brunson. You know what I'm saying, to kind of play off him and take the load off, because with Philly, you know what I'm saying, he's the focal point. So everybody, James Harden isn't what he, at times he showed that he can still be that guy, but and overall he's lost a step. He isn't totally that guy anymore. But Jalen Brunson is in the prime of his career, so it's like he's going to be more consistent. You get more consistency from your second best player, obviously, because Joel would step on the team and be the best player on our team, and I just think that would just help him immensely. And on top of that, our defense would just be, what I'm saying, great. So like you said, it's the injury concern is the question, but if it was a potential package out there that was reasonable, and like I said, considering all the assets we have, I'm like, we I don't know too many other teams that's better suited than us to make a trade. So if that was a possibility, I would definitely see what it's about. At least entertain it.
Yeah.
Especially if it involves me getting rid of Randall. I'll give it to Randall. I'm sorry. Because whether Embiid is hurt or not, it's like his character, his mind for the game, his mindset. He got a winning mindset. You know what I'm saying? I could just tell. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with you. When you're talking about Joel Embiid out there, every single New York Knicks fan would love to see Jalen Brunson with Joel Embiid. Like it's a no brainer. Everyone would want to see that. It would sell. I mean, the Garden already sells out every game, but with that, there'll be the tickets will be going through the roof for that.
For sure.
But overall, no, I agree with what you're saying. I would like to see Julius Randle out there, and when we're looking at Joel Embiid, he's a better player. He's more consistent. Um, and when it comes down to performing and winning games, I trust to have Joel Embiid over Julius Randle. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, if it's just Jalen Brunson and Joel Embiid, and we don't have the role players like we do now, like we won't have Quickly, we won't have Obi Toppin probably, and then we won't have any picks so that we can't bring in any young players for the draft, because if we're going to get Joel Embiid, we're going to have to give at least 5 picks away because he's the MVP. He's one of the best players in the league. So again, for me, I personally don't want to see that, because that would be a gut your entire team to try to win the championship. And if we're talking about a guy, I'm talking about injuries again, that is pretty much gonna probably get injured during the season. You're doing all that for someone who's probably not gonna be all that healthy. And in game 7, I mean, you look at game 7 with the 76ers against Boston, he had a absolutely terrible game. And we're not even talking like Julius Randle. As a Knick fan, it's unacceptable for him to perform like that. If he's their second best player, he can't perform like that. Unacceptable. But when you're Joel Embiid, it's game 7 and you're the MVP of the league, and that's what you do in that performance, that is absolutely terrible. So that's kind of concerning for me personally. I don't think it's too concerning, but we also look at the 76ers team that it revolves around Joel Embiid. This is a 76ers team that really hasn't got over the hump in getting to the NBA Finals. With Joel Embiid, they've never been to the NBA Finals once. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen Joel Embiid. I
He
haven't
hasn't got
seen
out the
Joel
second round
Embiid in
yet.
the finals. So yeah, he's the MVP. Yeah, he's a great candidate. But if he only has James Harden on the 76ers and he can't do the job, he doesn't really have all that great role players. I mean, he's got Harris and he's got Maxey or whatever. What is Maxey on the
Yeah.
Sixers? Yeah, Maxey. Um, but that's really it. Other than that, his role players aren't through the roof. And again, his mindset too is kind of like Julius Randle. At the end of Game 7, he roasted his entire team. He said, "Well, basketball is a five on five sport. The other people had to do better." When he had an absolute horrendous game, it's kind of the same deal we have with Julius Randle. Maybe they want it more. Like this is impactful stuff. Like when you do that, that gives you the sense. And Julius Randle, can he get away with that? No, but I could throw that. I can look past that quicker. Obviously, we're going to look at that more intensely as Knicks fans. But when you're the MVP of the league and you say that, that's just terrible. So for me, for me, Joel Embiid, it would be awesome to see him on the Knicks. But I think if they were going to do that, I would obviously rather have Embiid than Randall. But they would have to gut their entire team for him. I think as a Knicks
Well,
fan,
see, if that's what I mean though, if Randall's included in there, I don't think we ain't gonna have to include that many picks.
we're gonna have to
You know what I'm
include
saying?
we're gonna have to
We're gonna
include a
include
lot of
picks,
picks,
but it's
at
not gonna
least
be.
three. At
I
least
mean,
three if Julius Randle's in there. I mean, if, for the
so
like,
but my idea is, I'm thinking potentially. Well, yeah, Randall. If I got Randall in there, if I got Quickly in there, if I put, I don't know, maybe throw Obi in there, throw Obi in there at this point, and then I think that's a solid three players.
and then
I,
three
I
picks.
you got an All NBA player right there, and then you got two young players that's gonna grow.
Yeah, but then
I,
3 or 4 picks. We're talking about Joel Embiid. You had to add 3 to 4
I'm
picks.
thinking,
It's serious. It's serious. The Donovan Mitchell trade, we couldn't do the Donovan Mitchell trade. We had RJ, Julius Randle. We were throwing everyone at them, and we had 3, 4 picks, and the Jazz didn't say yes to any of those.
yeah,
And
you're right.
and, and
You're right.
Joel Embiid's way. I mean, I personally like
Yeah,
Donovan Mitchell. I wanted them to trade for Donovan Mitchell so bad last year, and if they did, we would still be playing. That's what I say right now.
but I
But
think on top of that, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you
no,
off,
you're
but
good.
I think on top of that is like, the injury concerns. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
say it. I think it does lower the value though, a little bit. I think it's an argument to say like,
yeah.
with
I
with
mean
his
that.
injury history, that
Yeah,
y'all might have to not, like I see the Knicks trying to at least play get like hardball to an extent. Obviously you're only gonna be able to play hardball to a certain extent because in the end he just won MVP and he's one of the best players in the league. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So, but
But
yeah,
for
man.
but for like James Harden with the Sixers, they did like 4 pick swaps or something. They got like 4 picks. They traded 4 picks to the Nets for James Harden. It's like James Harden. Listen, he's a great player, but like I don't know. Listen, I'm
Yeah,
spitballing it here,
but
but
I
from what
wouldn't be surprised though.
yeah, but
What you're
like the
saying.
Knicks are going to have to give at least Randall for sure, Obi quickly, and then picks. And so quickly and Obi are two of your huge bench role players, and so you get rid of them, you had to replace them. How are you going to find a replacement for those two? Like
Yeah,
and now if you get rid of your picks, you can't replace them in the
but
draft. You had to
but on
replace them signing. Who are you gonna sign? You're gonna then have to sign a veteran like Kyle Lowry or stuff like that. And
we see how that's turning
but
out.
no, listen, I'm not saying Kyle Lowry's bad, but like how long is Kyle Lowry gonna be playing? Like quickly, you'll have quickly for a long time if you want if he likes the organization because clearly quickly likes the organization.
Oh
He'll
yeah,
sign with the Knicks if they give him a contract. Same thing with Obi. If they give Obi a contract, he wants to play for the Knicks. He grew up liking the Knicks. He wants to be on this team.
but you
So go
but I
ahead.
was gonna say you gotta keep in mind too though. Those two players that got to get paid. For one, quickly definitely getting paid. He
Yeah, but
getting
he's
he
not going to
getting
get
money.
big baller bucks. He's going to get a decent amount. Don't get me
He
wrong.
gonna
He's going
get
to get
like
a decent
15 to
amount, but
20.
he's not going to get Julius Randle money.
Oh no, he gonna get like 15 to 20 though.
Yeah, but I
That's
pay.
that's money.
Yeah, I know. I'd pay. I still do. I still would do that. I mean,
But
Kyle Lowry, you still pay. You're still doing that for Kyle Lowry too. You're
but
not
the
paying
only
Kyle
thing
Lowry $8 million. He's not going to accept $8 million.
I was gonna say, the only thing with that though is
We signed
obviously
Evan Fournier to a 3 year, $73 million deal. Like Evan Fournier sits on the bench the whole season.
exactly. Yo, that
So
that was
I
that was a
mean,
bad investment. We
yeah,
found that out.
but
But I was just gonna say like And then on top of that, Obi, you let me add on Obi. Like Obi, he still got to get paid. It's
Yeah.
only so much he can get paid because we still don't even know what his value is at this point. Even after these years, we still don't have a good grasp of like what he truly can be. Like 30 minutes a game, like giving him a consistent role. He's always had an inconsistent role. So I don't know. I think in all, and on top of that, it's no, it's no road for quickly to ever start on this team, and at least no time soon. Jalen Brunson just quieted all of that, so you know what I'm saying. So, what is we going? I don't think we're gonna be paying him 60, 70 million dollars for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
That's what he gonna get though. He gonna get some
I
quickly.
mean,
Gonna get
where's
money.
I mean, if he wants that money, where's he going to find it?
Oh,
Like,
somebody gonna give him some money.
I mean,
I
yeah,
think he
but
gonna. I
if you
mean,
want to win, I think you have a better chance. Unless you go to a top tier team, I mean, you have a good chance at winning with the Knicks.
but
But
although I think, and I feel like I saw him. He had an interview, like quickly had an interview, like not too long ago, where it was like they was asking him about like being his role of being a six man, and is he comfortable with that? And I feel like he said something where he was like, no, I'll view myself as a starter. I want to be a starter down the line, things like that. So
if he's looking
obviously
to be a
that's
starter, this is not New York is not the market for him. We're gonna lose
so I.
him. So
But like you
I
said
mean,
though, I think
but
he
he's not
do
gonna
like
be Maxi or whatever. If we trade him to the 76ers, they already have a point guard with the Maxi guy.
exactly. That's
Yeah,
why I'm
so he's
like
not gonna
the
take
Sixers
it.
probably wouldn't even want
That's literally quickly. That's an alternative version of quickly. The
for sure.
Maxi on 76 on the 76ers, that's literally quickly. I think he's a little bit better, but than quickly. But I mean,
I don't know. I just think with quickly, it's just going to be. I don't know. It's going to be hard for us to keep him, and it's going to be
yeah.
hard kind of
I
for
mean, they
us
have
to
to
like.
open the books for him, and I don't know if they're willing to do that. But I mean, if he wants to stay a six man and try to win as a six man, then you got to open the books. But it is
Yeah,
what it is.
I personally think we would be smart and kind of not to say go like the route of the Heat, but we at the same time we got a lot of young players.
With veterans,
We
yeah.
need some vets in there, man. Some
Mhm.
some experience in there, for real,
Yeah.
for real. That
But
that yeah,
yeah, but like the problem is like who are you gonna find? Because we did that in the 2021 year when we had Alec Burks, we had Todd Gibson, Nerlens Noel. I mean, these are veterans. I mean, they're not the best veterans in the book,
right,
but they're still listed as veterans. Todd Gibson's
for
been
sure.
around forever, and he's a veteran. And I mean, say what you will about him. I mean, he was all right for the Knicks, but I mean, Tibbs loves the veterans. He played Todd Gibson like crazy. So. And
Well, I
Alec,
guess I can't fault him on that
I mean,
because
I can't fault him on it either. And he also loved Alec Burks. He played Alec Burks like crazy too. And I mean,
so,
Alec Burks had his moments, but if you're really trying to win ball games and consistently win ball games throughout the year and in the playoffs, he's not going to do it for you. So, but no, I agree. I think if they can find someone like a Kyle Lowry or like a really impactful veteran to come off the bench, the Knicks can get into the better place. And I think what the Knicks, like going back to what should they do, they're going to keep Randall probably, and they're going to keep Tibbs. I mean, Tibbs is the coach. The Knicks have not made the playoffs at all with any coach outside of what was Mike Woodson with Melo.
yeah,
And after that,
the last
no
time,
New York Knicks coach has made the playoffs. And Tom Thibodeau was the first coach to make the playoffs, and he's done it twice, and he's won a playoff series, and he made it to the second round. That's something that, again, Mike Woodson was the last person to win a playoff series and get to the second round. So firing him would kind of be a little bit silly. Who are you going to replace him with? He knows
right?
these players. He knows how they function. Yeah, his adjustments aren't that great, and people may complain that he got out coached by Eric Spoelstra. But Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the league, in my opinion. Like
But I think
go ahead.
just to push back on Phibbs, I just think from what I was going to say, as far as like how he coaches, and I feel like somebody said it. I was listening to Knicks Film School, and somebody was saying like how which I think is true. Like he coaches to not lose instead
Yeah.
of coaching to win. If you
Right.
understand what I
Oh
mean, as
yeah.
far as like he doesn't like he doesn't try new things. He doesn't like try and experiment as much as he should. It's like I don't know. It's like he always goes to his safety valves
Right.
instead of
And
instead
as
of just
soon as you coach that way, you're gonna lose. So if you coach to
exactly.
if you play prevent to lose, you're gonna lose. So I'm not gonna. I've seen it time and time again. So
Right, right. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of how he's played. And I feel like if he has tried to be a little more, inventive and innovative, you know what I'm saying? I think maybe we probably would be in a better position than we are.
yeah,
But, like you said, no coach in the last 10 plus years has a record as good as his as far as going to the playoffs twice in their tenure and they coaching tenure and then winning a playoff series and almost potentially pushing a game seven and almost winning another series.
right,
Like it was so close. So, I have to give him credit for that. And definitely I think I don't like you said, I don't think he's gonna be gone. I think they're gonna try again, but I definitely think, like I said, they should be trying to give him a little more veteran presence. I like Deuce, but Deuce is still, especially for the team we got now, it's like he's good for the regular season, but like when it come to game time and it's like playoff time and those clutch times, you could tell who's ready and who's not, like, and who's been there and who hasn't been. So I just think we just need more veteran presence
right.
from that bench. And I think we need also what is it? A better, ideally, I was gonna say, ideally, I think I wouldn't even feel terrible about us running it back, for the most part next year. You know what I'm saying? Because we got Hart off the bench. If we can keep quickly, I don't. That all remains to be seen. Because I think with like the money that he's going to demand, and like I said, with the role that he's going to play, I don't think those two aren't going to. No, I don't think it's going to mess well. I think he'll probably somebody else will probably offer him some money elsewhere. As just as good, and he might just take that and go. But and then on, like I said, Obi, the jury's out on Obi. Like he just
Yeah.
continues to be in that same role. So I don't know, but
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
looking at the free agent list right now, and so for the Knicks, we're looking at Derrick Rose as a free agent. He's not going to be on the team next year. Josh Hart's a free agent, so he had to sign Josh Hart
we're
for
gonna
sure.
resign him.
Yeah, we're definitely re-signing him, and then quickly he's going to be a free agent, like you said, right? Is he going to be a free agent, or you don't know? He's just looking for a
I
bag.
don't know. I think he is a free agent after this year. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I think he is a free agent now.
Okay, so I'm trying to look for like veterans. I caught my eye. Jay Crowder is a veteran that's on there. I mean, there's dude. We can get Cam Reddish back. He's a free agent.
Yeah, Cam,
But
bring Cam back,
I'm
boy.
just
You
looking
know
to
what I'm
see,
saying?
dude. I'm just trying to see what comes to mind. I mean, there's nothing really that jumps out there. On the top of the list, like the top five, Russell Westbrook's a free agent. James Harden, Chris Middleton, Kyrie Irving, Kristaps Porzingis, D'Angelo Russell, Kevin Love. These are a couple of lists. I mean, those are really none of them I really am interested for the Knicks to acquire. Um,
Right,
People are wondering if the unicorn Kristaps Porzingis will return, and most New York Knicks fans aren't really that interested. Personally, I wouldn't mind him coming back if he comes off the bench, but he doesn't want to come off the
Porzingis.
bench. Yeah, Porzingis is not going to want to come off the bench. If they sign Porzingis to come off the bench, I'll be okay with that. But for me, they would have to give him a lot of money, so I'm all set
You're not
there.
taking him over Randall right now, bro. I'm taking him over Randall right
Who
now.
Porzingis?
I'm putting him in Randall's spot right now. Okay, I promise you, and I'm okay with that. I'm
Yeah,
sleeping well at night.
I don't deny. Well, here's the thing: it depends on how consistent Porzingis can be, but he also is going to want a lot of money. He's got a mindset that's almost worse than Julius Randle. Serious. Nick fans know him the most. He wanted to he wanted to leave New York so bad. I hate the Knicks. They're terrible. I don't want to play here. Trade me, trade me, trade me. Then they traded him to the Mavericks. He played in the Mavericks. Mavericks stunk. And then he went to the Wizards. He's doing all right, but they're still a stinky team. And then he's like, "Oh,
Right.
I love the Knicks because they were doing good now." And Jalen Brunson's there. "Oh, I love the Knicks. I loved it when I played there." No, you didn't. That's not
Right.
that's not what you said when you actually played. You were begging for a trade, and you had Melo, and you blew it. But that's pretty much it about the offseason talk. So what we're gonna do next? Do you have anything else to say before we dive into the lottery, or you?
Yeah, nah. I was gonna say I don't know. Since it's funny that you brought up Kristaps and the Wizards because I was thinking like, how about Bill? I think Bill, because they keep losing. Because bro, it happens every year. It's always gonna be, even though it's like unforeseen right now. Somebody's gonna try and force a trade. Somebody's gonna try and leave. Some superstar is going, just like Donovan Mitchell last year. It's gonna be somebody else that's trying to leave. Somebody they have. It hasn't been.
Well,
It
to be
hasn't
fair,
revealed.
sorry to cut you off, but I'll let you come back real quick. To be fair, Donovan Mitchell really didn't want to say I want to get out of town for Utah. Utah was just like, we're gutting our roster. We're gonna play the what's it called? We're gonna rebuild our team, and so they got rid of Gobert, and then they were looking to get rid of Donovan Mitchell. I don't think Donovan Mitchell cared less whether he was playing in Utah or Cleveland, but I just wanted to get so you can continue.
Yeah, yeah. Now I think he really wanted to come home though, for sure. But
Yeah.
but I was gonna say, yeah, like I said though, I think even though it's unforeseen right now, we don't know at this point. I think sooner or later it's gonna be somebody that's gonna reveal themselves to wanna lead. It
Yeah.
happens almost every year. So we'll see. Only time will tell. But how you feel about Bill though?
Who? Beal?
Bradley Bill.
Bradley
Bradley
Beal?
Bill.
I mean, yeah, he's all right. The problem is he shoots way too much. He's a great ball player, absolutely fantastic. He scores way better than someone like. Even though we love RJ here, and we're critics of Julius Randle, he's going to help Brunson in the scoring department. So if the backcourt's Jalen Brunson and Bradley Beal, I'm all for it. But again, this is a guy who he was a free agent last year or 2 years ago, something like that, and everyone thought he was going to go to the big name team. He was going to get the bag for like Milwaukee or a huge name, and then he just signs again with Washington, and everyone's like, why are you staying with Washington? You're not going to go anywhere. And for the most part, the reason why he stayed with Washington is because they opened the books big time for him. So if the
Right.
if the Knicks are going to look to trade for him, you have to then again, it's not going to be as a big trade as for someone like Joel Embiid, but you're
Right.
going to have to then open the books because then you get his huge contract that he signed with Washington, and then you're going to have to trade probably Julius Randle, and then in this situation, you're probably going to have to trade probably one role player instead of two, and then like two or three picks.
But
So
that's a place I could see quickly going and maybe starting at
yeah,
though.
so
We put
like
quickly there.
like for me, here's the deal. So, we talked about Porzingis. So if you trade Randall away, so if you do that trade for Beal, so you trade Randall away and then you trade say quickly away and then a couple of picks and then you get Beal, so your front court is
That boy,
so
no, I don't think we trading all the picks for Bill now.
I mean,
Not Bill.
but say that's
But that's
wait, you're going to give
hypothetical.
at
Yeah.
least a couple picks, at least from two to three, at
All
least.
right.
So let's say you do that. So your front court's Jalen Brunson and Bradley Beal, RJ small forward. You have no power forward. So what? For Zingod's coming back in. So you sign for Zingas. So it's maybe for I don't know, dude. We'll see. I
Uh,
mean, I think that would be fine. I personally wouldn't mind that, but again, now we're gonna have added new players that you have to create more chemistry with players that have never played with anyone else before, and Tibbs is gonna have to coach new people because if you look at it, RJ has well, this actually kind of contradicting or a not necessarily. This is RJ and Julius Randle have never really played all that great together. Correct me if I'm wrong. Every time they're on the court together, it just doesn't seem like they've been on the same page, and they played for 3 years. So that's very concerning if you're in the New York Knicks or you're a Knicks fan. I mean, everyone's out there like, yeah, RJ and Julius Randle just are never on the same page. We don't know what it is. So I don't think they're going to get rid of RJ. But if you can try to get rid of Randall and try to get different players for RJ to play with, that might be a little bit better sign. But again, like I was talking about with the chemistry, I mean, all these guys have been playing for each other with each other for at least 3-ish years. So like you would be kind of tarnishing the chemistry, but like Brunson's only been here for a year, so he's created chemistry for a year's worth. So I don't think it would be that catastrophic
That's what I mean.
if we got rid of like Randall because he's only played him for a year. If you got someone else, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, we already got the head of the snake. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Brunson is gonna lead the pack,
yeah.
and we just need somebody. Just
Yeah, the
gotta fill it
idea is
out.
to surround is to build a team around Brunson now. It's no longer Randall, build a team around Randall because he's proven that you can't build around him because even though he can get you to the playoffs, he hasn't proven that in the playoffs he can perform, that he's able to have a team surrounding him. And where Jalen Brunson, he's shown that throughout an entire season he can be consistent, and in the playoffs he can be consistent. He's the guy you surround your team with. So if you get him an additional like a Bradley Beal or someone that can score, I think that's what we're looking for. So
Yeah,
that's
just one more point though. I
yeah,
was just gonna say, I think and I think a lot of the reason RJ and Randall haven't worked is both of them are sub 3-point shooters. They're sub 35% 3-point shooters. They both shoot below average. So but the thing is, one is young and growing and should be getting better at shooting, and one is kind of
I mean
Julius has
one's
gotten better.
22 and one's like 28, so
Exactly,
it's a whole different ball game there.
we need RJ to figure out that jump shot. That's
Yeah,
what we need him to do. If RJ become like a 36 to 36 between 36 and 40% shooter from three,
right.
he gonna be good. And
Yeah,
that's just gonna do so much better for our offense.
yep,
You know? And that if he was doing that in the playoffs now, we might be
right.
having a different conversation right now. So, but yeah, so I just think that plays a big part, and hopefully, like I said, just the audition of having RJ come back as a better player, that'll be a welcome addition to our team. That'll be just like adding a new player. So
Right.
I think that'll really help us. But yeah, we can go on. We can go on, man.
All right. So we're going to dive into the lottery. So recently the NBA lottery has happened and we already talked about Porzingis and part of the deal that the New York Knicks have made for Kristaps Porzingis back in 2019. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was 2019
yes, sir.
involved the 2023 Dallas Mavericks pick, and it was top 10 protected. So if you were a New York Knicks fan, you were glued to the TV. Well, you were tuning in to the draft lottery to see where the Mavericks would land, because if the Mavericks went out of the top 10 to where they got either the 11th through 14th pick, the pick then went to the New York Knicks. But since the Mavericks didn't really have that great of a year, and it was a top 10 protected, so if they landed from 1 to 10, they would acquire the pick. And like New York Knicks fashion, it happens every year. I think we're cursed. The Dallas Mavericks got the 10th pick, so we missed acquiring their pick by one. So that's tough. So
Mhm.
we won't be able to really, I mean, doing the Porzingis trade, we were able to open the books and acquire like Julius Randle and stuff like that. But that was the last part of the deal, and we were looking to capitalize on it. And unfortunately, the Mavericks didn't do all that great this year, and they got the 10th pick. So we missed out on that pick. And for me, my status was, for me, I watch a lot of basketball, but I don't watch a lot of college ball. So I really have no idea who's the top prospects of the league or of the college, the NCAA, in regards to who they could have got if they acquired that pick. But I think it would have been a good asset to trade if you had the 11th to 14th pick for the New York Knicks, like they did last year. They had around the lines to probably the same-ish pick in the last year's draft, and they were able to trade that to open space and to acquire Jalen Brunson. And obviously, if you watch this year, Jalen Brunson was absolutely phenomenal. And so I would do that absolutely 100% once again if that allowed us to free space to sign someone like Jalen Brunson. But having new fresh people come in to play for the Knicks is always a good sign. This is the front office who drafted Quentin Grimes, who has been absolutely phenomenal. So I trust this front office in regards to drafting. And so if they have a higher pick in regards to whether it was 11 or 14, I think they could have got someone really good. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And the Mavericks obtained their pick, and they're going to be picking 10. So I have no clue who the Mavericks are going to pick. But I think right now, I don't think the New York Knicks have a pick in the first round for this year's draft, as they traded a first round pick to acquire Josh Hart in the before the trade deadline, so they can have instant impact with him. And I think Josh Hart is an absolutely phenomenal player. Again, I would take him any day of the week. But I don't think it's panic mode if you're a Knicks fan. You know, it's unfortunate that we couldn't get the pick for from Dallas, but you know, I think if the New York Knicks can just either find a way to draft good in the either later rounds of the draft, or they can just do what they did last year in the offseason in regards to signings, I think we're good to go. But other than that, that's pretty much it from me. I just let's hear what Jordan has to say. So what are your thoughts on the draft lottery, Jordan?
So yeah, obviously disappointed. Definitely was looking forward to us honestly being able to pick a player because although you know our team is established, we made it to the second round, and we showed a lot of promise. I still think that we're best served by especially with how good, like you just said, like you just highlighted how good our front office is and has how good their track record has been of picking good players. You know what I'm saying? I think, it would have just been great for us to look to try and grab somebody in that range, whatever range we were going to be in, which is 11. But I think personally, just throwing hypotheticals out there, I think that the Knicks should try and at least, I think the Knicks should try and trade Obi for a pick if we can do that, whether it be late first round or whatever. Because, like I said, I think we doing Obi a disservice, and we continue to do him a disservice by, I looked at a stat recently, or somebody was just saying something about like how 60% of Obi's shots came from 3-point range, and when he was playing for, when he was in college, I feel like it was almost the opposite as far as like he was like almost 60 to 70% of his shots were from up close. Like he was a dominant force in the paint. He was dunking on people. He was, doing things like that. So for us to just get to, for us to Thibs to kind of put him in that position and kind of get him in, I don't know. I just think it's kind of helped him, but it's also hindered him as well. It's helped him to become a better shooter from three because he's had no choice but to be in that scenario. But at the same time, I just think like with the limited minutes he gets and stuff, it's like he's not able to get the full development he deserves, and opportunity he deserves. So I think it would do us a favor and him a favor to try and see if we can get into the first round or second round somewhere and just get a nice pick somewhere like in a nice range, and we should try and invest in um, another, because I think like I was saying, well, I said before we talked about him briefly a little bit, but Cam Reddish, not to bring him back up, but that archetype of player, I see what the Knicks was doing when they first traded for him, and I think that archetype of player is needed in order for us to continue to succeed. As far as like just being able to have somebody that's 6'8", 6'9", that's agile and can hang with guards and hang with players like Jimmy or whatever. Players like Tatum, Jaylen Brown, things like that. We need bigger players, more size. RJ he's on the lower end for as far as height, as far as being a small forward. So I think we just need more height, and I think just having somebody off that bench, even a rookie who could defend at a high level, hit some threes, do things like a 3-and-D type of wing. I think that would just, especially now that we got Josh Hart, and hopefully by next year he has more confidence with his shot. He shoots more threes next year, and this won't be as much of an issue. But still, like I think just having him, knowing he's like kind of he isn't a shooter like that. Just to have another shooter out there who can defend Just now I'm thinking about it. I don't know if you know him, but Trey Murphy, he played for the New Orleans Pelicans. He starts for them, but I'm just saying, like a player like that, where it's like, oh, mainly he's very athletic. He can get to the rim, but a lot of it is just 3 and D, and he's just out there to space the floor and defend. And I just think if we had something like that this playoffs, we would have been in a lot better position than what we're in now. So, yeah, I think it would behoove the Knicks to at least explore opportunities to at least try and get into at least trade into the draft, as if they can.
Yeah, so for Obi, talking about Obi, I'll just give my thoughts. Like you were saying, this season I felt like he was shooting the ball. He was shooting every shot was felt like it was a three-pointer. And specifically in Miami series, he really couldn't do anything. Well, the way Spoelstra coached him, he was just making him wide open for three. And if you're a shooter or you have a flow, you're going to shoot the three, but he was just daring him to shoot. And when you're open in the NBA, for the most part, you're going to shoot it. But in the Cleveland series, there was one game where he was in there. I think it was the third quarter, some game I don't remember, but he was going to the hole. He was getting layups. He was getting mid-range jumpers down, and that's his play style. Once he gets going, he's great. And the problem is we talked about Julius Randle. He is prominently plays the game. He has so much minutes, and Obi Toppin is also a power forward. So when you have Julius Randle who plays basically the entire game, Obi only gets 12 minutes. So when he's in the game for 12 minutes and he only gets 5 shots, and 3 of those shots are 3 pointers, and he's not really a 3 point shooter, and he goes 1 for 3 or 0 for 3, Tibbs is going to look at that and say, absolutely not, get out of here. And then after that, Julius Randle is going to be in for the rest of the game. So, from what you said in regards to the draft, should we trade him to get an additional player? It depends, because I think that's 100% true. If OB is going to be on this team, I think in regards to him as a player and for his career, I think as a Nick, he really can't express himself as a ball player because he's under the gun of Julius Randle, and if he messes up once, he's done for the game. So I think that's a huge problem in regards to his development. He needs to play at least 20 minutes in order for him to grow. If he plays 10, 12 minutes and he only gets 5 shots, how can he grow as an offensive player? Obviously, we know he's a great defender, but he can't really grow as an offensive player if his main shot as a Nick is the 3 point shot this season. He's not going to be able to grow as a player. And like you said, in college, he never shot threes in college. He was always going to the hole. He's dunking, laying it up, shooting the
Yeah,
mid
all
range
right.
shot. He was never shooting threes. And now all of a sudden on the Knicks, that's the only shot he takes. I mean, game one of the Miami series, he was shooting threes like it was no tomorrow. And it's like, dude, calm down, go to the hole. We need points. Just shoot threes.
And see,
But
that's kind of what he's been conditioned to do now, though. That's
yeah, I
like
mean, if he's open, he's gonna shoot the three.
right.
Yeah,
And
so
it's got no choice now, like because it's like they're not putting him in no pick and rolls. They're not doing, like I said, they're not doing
yeah,
none of the that really helped him become the college player of the year at Dayton. Like he was
yeah,
just college player of the year, and he wasn't college player of the year dunking. I mean,
right.
threes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. And I think that's another thing with Tom Thibodeau. You see this guy, the way that he can play, is run pick and rolls with him, get him to the hole, get him the ball so he can get it down low or something around those lines. Stop just giving it to him on the corner for threes. So, but overall, I think if you can trade him to get someone else like a Grimes or someone else that can contribute to this team in regards to
exactly.
role player, I do think Obi Toppin is a great role player, but you need to be able to give him more minutes. So if you're going to get someone like Grimes who plays a lot of minutes, I'm 100% down for that. But I also think that we were talking about for a Joel Embiid or a big player, you know he's going to probably have to be in that trade. So are we going to trade him to go into the draft? Or are we going to trade him to get the big name player? So that's really my thoughts on Obi. But overall, I think what I trust this Knicks team in regards to the draft. Whatever they do, I'm probably going to be okay with it unless they do something absolutely insane. But I thought last year they had a terrible draft, but I thought that last year was absolutely chaotic. But the whole point of last year's draft was to free up space, get as much people out of the way, so Jalen Brunson can come to town, and that's probably the best thing that has ever happened to the New
Yeah,
York Knicks
right.
organization. So for me, I'll be the most negative person right away, and then when something that when I'm proven wrong, I'm totally fine with it. So if the Knicks can do that again, I'll be totally fine with it. But overall, yeah, it's unfortunate that they couldn't get this pick from Dallas, but overall, I think we're in a good footing. And so we'll go from there. So do you have anything else to say before we move on to John Morant?
Yeah, that's all.
All
I think
right.
I'm good. Yeah.
So what we do here, Nick City, obviously we prominently talk about the New York Knicks, but we also talk about basketball. We talk a bunch of hoops. So the big talk of the town for the NBA is the controversy on John Morant. So me and Jordan talked about if we wanted to speak on this, and we agreed to do so. So we'll just dive into the issue with John Morant. So recently, John Morant in March he went to a strip club in what was it? Denver, right? He went to a strip club.
I'm not even sure.
So in March, he was in a strip club on a business trip for the NBA. I think he played the Nuggets, so he was in a strip club and he went on Instagram Live and he showed a firearm, and so that went against the conduct of the NBA. So the NBA suspended him for 8 games, and they told him that he has to behave better, and that if this behavior was to return, that consequences would come forth to him. So he went on the press conference and he said, "Well, I have to act better. I'm going to, change the way I go about things." And this was before he did this in March. He signed a deal with Nike and he signed a deal with Powerade. And once he did this fiasco when he went live and showed his firearm, the Nike deal and the Powerade deal kind of was not there anymore. And so
Mhm.
again, afterwards, he said, I'm going to change. This is not going to happen, and so on and so forth. And so just recently, a couple of weeks ago, he was in a car with his buddy, which they were singing a song. I don't know what song it was, but
Right. Yeah.
after John Morant said he was going to change on this Instagram live, and it was his friend's account that had about 110 people watching. It cuts to John Morant, and he's once again shown a firearm on the Instagram live. He's dancing to the song, singing to the song, and he shows the firearm. And so the NBA saw that, and then they suspended him for I he was suspended from all stuff with the NBA, so to speak, and so people are now talking that he might possibly that there's consequences to happen with John Morant after this second incident, because obviously, like I said before, once you show the firearm, that's against conduct for the NBA. If you proceed to do that conduct once again, you're going to violate a lot of things in regards to the contract that you signed, so on and so forth. So he possibly might be suspended for 40 games, might be suspended for a year. He might lose a couple money in his contract. So there's a lot of things that could happen with John Morant. And so for me, that's the whole story. So I'll let Jordan dive in first and give his thoughts on what he thinks of John Morant.
Man, oh man. I don't get it, man. I just don't. It's like I think Stephen A said it best because I want to kind of push back against JJ Redick. I'm not sure if you saw what JJ Redick was
No,
saying.
what'd he say?
I think he was on First Take or some other show on ESPN, and he was basically I don't remember exactly, but he basically was upset with how people viewed the situation as far as Ja. He was kind of on Ja's defense as far as like, he's in a state where I guess firearms are legal to have in that state, Memphis, where he was at that time. I mean, in that city or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's they're legal there. Um, so he was basically just kind of arguing that, like, why are y'all just kind of messing with him? What is that? This, that, and the third.
Right.
Basically, just trying to make it seem
Basically going with the
like
Second Amendment.
kind of making it
thing.
seem like
Yeah,
everybody else was tripping
right.
for kind of being outraged by doing this again.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And I'll just be quite frank, as far as like, just him being an African American male, a young African American male at that, especially in that this day and age and different things like that, and being such a high stature of an athlete, is I think Charles Barkley has said something about like, you got to nip some of this stuff in the butt. You're a professional athlete, so it's certain things that that maybe you was doing back in your old days that you can't do now. Like
right.
it's like you gotta move different. A lot of things that you can do that you might want to do, you can do behind closed doors, but you got to make sure you know it's not out there for everybody to see. And you got to be private with your life. It's just you got to move differently, obviously, as a celebrity compared to being a regular person like me and you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just I just feel like him being as young as he is, he just doesn't understand that. And also, CP on Knicks Fan TV, he had like a nice little video on that on Twitter that I saw, and he talked about like where hopefully this all these consequences that Ja is receiving, hopefully this will finally help him to see like what he's doing is wrong and he needs to move differently and just kind of do away with some of the stuff that he's been doing lately because um it's only gonna hurt him. Like you said, he lost. I didn't even know that you even said about that. I didn't even know he lost the Nike deal and then he lost
Well,
the
he
what
he didn't
Powerade.
technically lose it, but he signed a deal with Nike and Powerade, and so he was going to be, I don't think Powerade has done a commercial in a
Right?
long
Yeah.
time. Like
Right.
Powerade hasn't been relevant in a while, and they're like, well, we're gonna come back, and the athlete we're gonna choose is Ja Morant. And they were going to launch the Powerade deal, huge $1 million contract with Powerade, and he did the thing in March, and Powerade was like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that anymore."
I,
Nike, I think he already has a shoe, but I think that they kind of ended, not necessarily ended, but they stopped doing what they were initially going to do with him. But again, this was again, like you said with Nick Fan TV, that's what they were talking about, Nick Fan TV. So I thought I'd bring it up, but I'll let you continue.
I was going to say just to put a bow on it. Basically, I just think that like CP said, you have to learn from your mistakes and specifically, like I said, where he's at in Memphis, there's already been multiple people who, like rappers who've been killed, like in
Yeah.
broad day by people because of, not, just what they affiliate with and how they carry themselves and different things like that. And just having people who like, just kind of hating on you just because of your high stature. And, that he lives in a city, what I'm saying? He's from a city and well, he lives in a city and plays for a city and is in a city where it's a lot of dangers like that,
Yep.
specifically for people of his demographic, you know what I'm saying? So I just think, the, this helps him learn his lesson and like he apologized recently and and then this happened just again, but I think also that played it also plays a part. It wasn't like he was the one with the gun, I mean with the camera who turned the camera on to what I'm saying,
The second
like
time it
people
was his buddy. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say you
The
gotta
first
realize
time it was him. It was on his account. The first time it was on his account and he started the show on
I
the
was gonna say
Instagram live. Second time wasn't him.
I was gonna say, man, it's like I we've all learned this, as far as like the company you keep, you have to be mindful of
Right.
that type of stuff, and obviously the people that he is around is like might not be the best influences for him, and we talked about this even before, like the first incident, where it's like, the people he's around. Maybe just detrimental to him right now, and it's like the wrong influence. And
Hmm.
you out here trying to be a gangster, bro. Like you're successful. You're a very successful basketball player that like actually,
Extremely.
you know what I'm saying? It's not like you just a scrub off the
Right.
street. Like you're the centerpiece of a team right now. Like you know what I'm saying? So it's like, what more do you want? So I don't know, but
Yeah, so my initial thoughts, I agree with what you're saying. In regards to, as a basketball player, when you're talking about the NBA, so when you're talking about JJ Redick and, thinking people that are overreacting because Memphis has whatever laws in regards to firearms, that's irrelevant in this situation, because he is an employee for the NBA, which is a private organization. So when he signs a contract, he has to follow rules and guidelines, so he can't act a certain way, so he can't be above and beyond. He can't be showing the internet that he has firearms. He can't be doing anything that is, that tarnishes the reputation of the NBA. And when you flash a firearm twice, that kind of in a way tarnishes the representation of the NBA and the Memphis Grizzlies. So
No doubt.
I definitely disagree with what JJ Redick is saying. Obviously, in regards to the locations to where you can have a firearm, that's one thing. But for the most part, you can't just be showing it off like it's some toy. It's a firearm.
Right.
It's not something that can be like, oh, look at this. It's not
Right. Right.
we're
Right.
in a whole different situation here. So I think the NBA needs to be a really strict on him. And for me, in regards to John Morant, this is a young player. He signed a huge contract for the Memphis Grizzlies. LeBron was talking about once he's kind of donezo, when LeBron's out of there, he's like John Morant probably is going to be the face of the NBA, because obviously right now, it's still LeBron. It's going to be LeBron until he's out. And he was saying that John Morant might be the face of the NBA. And so when you're acting that way, you can't do that when you not only signed a huge contract, everyone's looking up to you, and you're the possibility of being, the face of the entire NBA. I mean, he's already the face of the Grizzlies, and he might be the face of the NBA. You got to act a little bit better. And I think he's apologized twice now. So the first incident in March, he had an entire interview with Jalen Rose on ESPN, and he
Hmm.
basically told Rose that my actions had to be better. A lot of people look up on me, and so I'm going to use this as a learning experience and learn from that and be better. And then here we are a couple weeks later, he's in the car singing a song, and he flashes a piece again, and we're in the same situation once again. And so, and he apologized, and then again, like you said, he apologized. But how many times is he going to apologize, right? Is it going to be once, twice, three times, five times? How many
Exactly.
times is it going to be? I mean, again, when
Before
you
you learn
have
your lesson, before you actually learn your lesson, right?
right, yeah. So, when you have this huge, following, and you have to promote yourself in a professional way. Again, I know he's young. If you watch the NBA, there's a lot of young ball players that have done reckless stuff throughout their careers. But they didn't have social media to show everyone under the moon. Shaq. He was really prominent, and he did a lot of fun and exciting things. But he never really did anything outrageous to where it tarnished the representation of the NBA, or the Magic or the Lakers. But when you're young and you're playing the NBA, you do a lot of things off the court that may not be the greatest idea. And a lot of these young players have done it, but this is something that you definitely can't do. You got to avoid 100%. And then again, like you were talking about Memphis, Memphis is not a place to just show everyone, hey, I got a firearm, and hey, I got a ton of money. There's a lot of not so lovely individuals in Memphis. I mean, Memphis, Tennessee, all that is a good spot to be, but we're not talking about when you're John Morant and you have the money that he has and the stuff like that. People are not going to take that lightly. They're gonna want to do something, and people get jealous. I mean, when you show that you have a ton of
Exactly.
money, people get jealous. People hate, they hate starts to brew, and stuff like that. So I hope that he kind of learns his lesson and figures it out. I think he's a great basketball player. He's absolutely amazing to watch. Unfortunately, I don't really like watching the Memphis Grizzlies play basketball, but I like watching him play basketball. So for him doing this crazy weird stuff, is I think it's a little bit little bit unprofessional. And yes, he's young, but you had to put yourself on a better, a better system, or you got to actually put yourself in the light that you need to put yourself in. And so that's pretty much all I had on John Morant. Hopefully he gets better. Hopefully he kind of learns his lesson, and he does become an absolutely phenomenal basketball player. So that's pretty much about it. You have anything else to say about John Morant?
Yeah, I think that's about it. I just think, like I said, hopefully he learns his lesson and realizes, and hopefully, like I said, it's like, he has better influences around him and he learns his lesson, because you can even tell, like, when the guy put the camera up, you see how quick he
Yeah,
just,
well,
because he knew it's like, damn, I done fucked up. I said, they
yeah,
knew
but
but at that point it was over because obviously social media. It's like once it's out there, it's out there. So
yeah, but the
you know,
thing is he's doing first of all, this is what I want to add. This he's on his Instagram live, the friend, and he only has 100 people watching it, right? 100 people are watching this, and as a friend, you already know that John Morant is in this in this
it's
situation with the firearm, and he has one in the car right now. Why would you show him? Like, why would you show him? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're just ruin. Like, do you want his career to be ruined? Is it not supposed to be your friend? I don't understand that. And again, like you're saying, you gotta be, you gotta be in
but at the
situations.
same time, just to challenge Ja, it's like, bro, why you walking around carrying
I
a
know that's
firearm
another thing
all the
too.
time? Like you a gang member? Like what? Like
Yeah,
bro,
like the
like
thing is
you're not
like
a police officer.
he's got John Morant in his car. This is a perfect opportunity for him to go on Instagram Live and show everyone John Morant's in my car. Follow me, give me the likes. I mean, basically clout. He's chasing for clout, right? So here's
Right,
John Morant. Follow me, do that stuff. But he has the gun. And then why do you have the gun in the first place? You're in the
yeah.
car singing the song with your buddy. Just sing the song. You're John Morant. That's all you need to be is John Morant. But here he is with the firearm, and he gets caught, and like 100 people watch it. Now, again, I'm not trying to say it's bad enough, regardless whether 10 people, 100, 10,000, a million people are watching it. It doesn't matter how many people are watching it, but it's just like you need to put yourself in the situation. Anyone can see it, no matter if 100 people, one person, or a million people watch it. Anyone can see it and then report it to the NBA. So again, no matter what you do as John Morant, or no matter what you do in the NBA, if you're an NBA player, you got to understand that everyone can see you, and you have to just personally promote yourself in the best light you can, because like,
But and that's another reason why I don't. To be quite frank with you, I really don't have much sympathy because
oh yeah, me
it's
neither,
not
man.
like it's not like he. It's not like this is first rodeo. Like even before Memphis, forget the NBA. He was a top recruit in college, so he's always had to deal with spotlight as far as
Right.
spotlight being on you, or having to answer to the media and just having to try and carry yourself like so. It's not like he's new to this. Is basically what I'm trying to say. It's like it's not like you knew. You should have been understood this, and you should have been had an understanding of this. So what we going into? This is year RJ. Him and RJ came out the same year. This is year 4 now. So you telling
Right.
me? So and that's funny though. We was talking about. I was just saying. I'm like, maybe the Knicks really did pick the best player. Number 3. Maybe we lucked
RJ,
up with
Star
number 3
J.
pick. Because I don't know if you heard what Stephen A. said, but I think that was a great statement. He was like, maybe that was a great pick. Between Zion Williamson's legs and John Morant's brand. I mean, his mental health and
Yeah.
the decision he made. You know what I'm saying? Maybe maybe that was a blessing in disguise. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I mean,
So
RJ overall, I mean, you're getting a good ball player, and you're getting a great person. I mean,
no
at the end of the
nonsense.
day, right? Like, RJ's awesome. He's a
Right.
guy that you can hang out with. He's like a cool kid. But the thing with John Moran, going back to him, on the court, he's a genius. Like, people that played against him are like, this guy is a master at creating, everything that consists of the sport of basketball. Then off the court, it's like he forgot how to how to do anything. It's just like how does this make any sense? But with what you say, I mean, I agree. I mean, Zion was supposed to be, but they do this every year. Every first round pick is the next LeBron James, the best prospect since LeBron James, and everyone really thought Zion was going to be that guy. And unfortunately, he's just getting injured. And then John Morant comes in, and technically, he's been performing as the best player in that 2019 draft. We're
For sure.
100% 10, absolutely. But it's the off the court stuff that you have to take into consideration, right? You can have the best basketball player in the entire world, but if he's an idiot off the court, it really affects the overall look at him. And then with RJ, he's a good ball player and he's a great person off the court, so it's just a good pick for the Knicks.
I
But
think
in
you
regard to the Knicks, were the second pick. They're picking John Morant either way. So it's just the
right.
way the ping pongs fell for that draft. But overall, John Morant. Again, like you said before, do I have sympathy for this guy? I don't necessarily have sympathy for someone who recklessly like uses a firearm, just displaying it to everyone. Here I go. I mean, I'm really you know very like gun safety is really important to me. I don't like when people are just showing it away and using it to do violence or harm. It just not the type of thing that I like. So
100%.
when you do that as John Morant, for me personally, it just really gets under my skin. And so I think the NBA should do all whatever it takes to make sure that this guy learns his lesson and so he never does it again. And so that's pretty much it. Hopefully he can get the help he needs and the NBA follows the correct procedures to make him not do it anymore. So that's pretty much it from me on John Morant. Do you have anything else to conclude?
Nah, I'm good, man.
Okay.
For the
Uh,
best, because like I said, I hate to see that such talent go to waste, man. But you know what
right.
I'm saying? Like, it just hate to see it because he too talented to be in these situations.
Right. Yeah. So
So,
basically that's it. That's what we wanted to talk about on the
so yeah,
show. Before we go, I'll let Jordan, close us out here, but I wanted to just let you guys know that I did make a short on this. But if you would like to listen to this show on an audio version, I have put the show on Spotify. So if you rather listen to the show than watch the show, either way, if you watch the show, listen to it. We do appreciate it. We really care about this show. We want as many people to either watch it or listen to it as possible. So if you want to go ahead and listen to the show on Spotify, I'll have a link to that. I already have a link on that on the short that I made. So if you go to the short and you go to the comments, the first comment will be the link to the Spotify account. I'm also trying to work on getting it into the description of each episode that we've already currently done. So you can just go into the description, click on the link, and it'll take you right there. But I ran into some issues, so it might take me a little bit. And then I'm also working on getting it to our homepage, to where you just go on the Knicks City homepage on YouTube. You'll see a little tab that says Spotify, and then you can just go right to it. But I'm still in the works of getting that done. Again, like I said before, I ran into a couple of issues getting the link into the description of the videos that we've already done. Hopefully, I can get that fixed and have that link there up shortly. But other than that, if you want to listen to us on Spotify, definitely go follow us there. Every show that we do here that's on YouTube will also be uploaded right away to Spotify. So if you want to, again, you want to do that, go there. If you want to follow us on YouTube, please do so. We do weekly content. Obviously, we do the show weekly, and we plan on we do YouTube shorts. So Jordan makes a bunch of memes, and I talk a bunch of. We do a lot of stuff here. If you like the Knicks, this is definitely the place to be. So consider subscribing to us. And if you like this show, please click a like button. If you liked what we talked about, let us know in the comments below what you liked us talking about and what your opinions on the stuff that we talked about as well. But other than that, that is it from me. I'll let Jordan close us out.
yeah. So, just ready to close it out. I think for our next show we might talk a little more about like potential trades. Do some more. I'm gonna do some more research on that and like look at like potential trade candidates, and maybe free agency, and then I am also going to be doing some off season, some more shorts as far as like I guess my takes, my reviews, or my takes on specific players on the team, and where I think they did worse on, what I think they could do better. What I think they did great, and yeah. So look out for those, and yeah, we're gonna keep pushing out content. Our goal is to continue to keep working and keep pushing things out. Until we get until next season, and then obviously we're gonna ramp right back up and get back into the regular season. So yeah, so look out for more content, guys. And it was definitely, I definitely love doing this. I want to speak on that. I love doing this and love talking about my team. And I hope y'all enjoy this as much as we do. So yeah,
All right, guys. Till next time, we'll see ya. Peace.
peace.